Hey guys, this is Emily from Pocketful of Sparkles, and today I have a special guest, my husband Josh. So since it's Valentine's Day, I thought it'd be a good idea to do a couple video, and today I just wanted to ask questions like for girls, questions that I've come up with that I think that girls might be curious about, and then Josh has come up with a few questions to ask two girls from the guy's perspective. So if you have a significant other in your life, or you're married, or even if you are looking to start dating, I think this will have some very beneficial information.
Just so you know, we didn't read each other's questions before.
I know, this is completely surprise.
So we try, just in order to try to keep it genuine.
We're going on the fly here. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Do you want to start, or do you want me to start?
How about this? You can start.
Okay.
I'm fine with that.
Okay, I'll start. Okay,
All right.
So my first question for guys is, why do you think modesty is important as a Christian, for Christian girls specifically?
I think men are stupid. Yeah.
Except for you, right?
Yeah, no, I fall guilty to that trap. We are very visually oriented. We enjoy looking at pretty things, and the women are very beautiful. And part of that, this delves into a whole nother thing that I can get into, but I'm not saying that that girl should be accountable for another guy's actions or his views, but a guy who wants to avoid that particular circumstance is not going to look for that circumstance. And I think it's hard to be like, we as guys tend to blame the girls, and it's not their fault. Oftentimes it's the guy's fault in that regard. So I guess my point trying to say is that it's really important in the Christian, because guys and girls, they both have their flaws, they both have their characters, and a lot of times guys falter in the area of lust and, in general, having the wandering eye, and not saying that that's the lady's fault, it's definitely the guy's fault, but...
So you're saying that it's important for girls to do modesty because it helps the Christian brother out.
It helps their Christian brothers out. And like I said, there is a lot that should be placed on the guy before, especially when you look at modern culture. It's harder to say that this is the girl's fault, because it's not. And that's what I'm trying to avoid saying.
Right.
My questions are more geared towards the relational side of things and kind of how that is. So my first question is, what is the most important part about a relationship, whether it's friend or family? Or more than friend?
Or more than a
friend.
I think the most important thing for me specifically, I'm not saying that I'm speaking for all girls, but I think the most important thing for a relationship is trust and loyalty. For me, I really want to feel like I can trust somebody before I take that next step. And I also want to make sure that they're going to be loyal to me, and they're just going to leave me the next day for whatever reason, football, another girl, whatever the reason may be. But I think those two are probably the biggest. And that not only goes for guys, but it also goes for girlfriends and for family members as well. Well, not family. You can't pick your family. But anyways.
Nice. Oh, that's good. That's very good.
Okay. So my next question, I also have my handy dandy note, but
mine's on computer.
Yeah,
so
he has this on his computer. I'm
out.
like hardcore notebook, old fashioned. Okay, what are characteristics or virtues you as a Christian guy look for in a girl?
I remember. I guess this is going to kind of delve into the first question a little bit, but I remember the best example I can think of is when I first saw you as someone I was interested in, and I remember you saying, "Oh, my looks don't define me. I'm defined by God. I don't need the approval of men or my friends or the world. As long as I know I'm doing right by growing in God and Christ, that is the most important thing." So that was number one for me, and that was the biggest thing that I was looking for, is somebody who understood that their looks aren't defined, or their world isn't defined by what they are, or who they are. It's but what they know that they're striving for towards. So it was a very, very good, I guess, meter of like letting people in. And apart from that, my general things that I looked for were very important qualities like honesty, communication. Like you said, trust is still a big part in a relationship, regardless of whatever side of the relationship you're on.
Yeah.
So, apart from that big one right there, which was kind of the most important one in my mind, all my other relationships were pretty standard, and relationship goals and wants were pretty standard. I'm going to ask you the same question that you asked me, but on the other spectrum. What qualities do you look for in a Christian guy, especially when it comes to relationships?
Probably Jesus first.
Mm-hmm.
I always want to look for a guy who puts Jesus above everything else in his life. I also was looking for somebody who would like to, who has similar interests. Obviously, they don't have to be a ballerina, but appreciates music, appreciates the arts.
Dude, ballet's really hard, fellas. Trust me, I actually
knows?
made a deal with her one time, and I've actually taken it.
It was pretty great. Hopefully, in the future, he'll be able to do it more.
I don't know
Fingers
about
crossed.
that.
Anyways, all that aside, I think that God for sure is a huge, huge, huge part. And then, what else was I looking for? I mean, just kind of that my plans in the future where I think God is calling me to live out my faith kind of aligned. And we had that talk, like I said, on the second date, and they did align really well. I was also looking for good looks, not to be vain or shallow or anything, but let's be real. That's a real thing, you guys.
Yeah.
But I thought he was pretty cute, and yeah, so. Anyways, yeah.
Yeah. Do you think it's important to have a list of no-goes? For example, boundaries or deal breakers, or something that says I'm not compromising on this, or this is important to me, and I want it to be important to whoever I share it with.
Yes. I think it's very important to set up boundaries. I was kind of an odd person and decided to have the second date, because I didn't think it was worth, this sounds terrible, but I didn't think it was worth my time or his time, or to go on with a relationship that wasn't going to last anyways, because our viewpoints were different.
Mm-hmm.
A huge thing for me was the guys that I dated had to be Christian. Actually, FYI, fun fact, Josh is the only guy that I ever dated. I told myself when I was going to date a guy, he would have to be Christian. That was a huge thing. Religious beliefs are a huge part of my life. And then also setting physical boundaries was really important. Those were the two big ones, I think. Everything else kind of fell into place. I think maybe Josh might speak better to this since he's had more experience than I have. I just got lucky with this one. Caught the fish on the first try, guys. Anyways, but yeah, so I think it is important to set boundaries, whatever those boundaries look like for you. I think it's not like one size fits all. They're not buffet pants, people. I think it's very customizable to whatever circumstance you're in. Wow, we're really good at this. What would your ideal date look like?
Oh, see, that's so hard because I like pleasing you specifically, because you're my endless date for the rest of my life.
But okay, well, if you had to pick out the date just for you,
just for me,
yeah,
because I like to take you into account when I
well, don't take me
date.
into account.
But if I had to look for a perfect date, I feel like you're trying to get ideas for something.
Maybe. See what I did there, guys.
It's hard because I like a lot of things. I love the Geology Museum. We did that with the National History Museum a while back. I think my perfect date would probably be along the lines of, probably a sporting event of some sort, most likely football, and or just some place where it's, that's relevant to my interests. Like, for example, I love the geology shows. I'm a big fan of that. I could go there and walk around and look at everything probably for hours, which is not entertaining to some people,
You
but
really could.
it's entertaining to me. and then just gain some time to spend with, in this case, you, and some time to spend with you, and probably dinner and a movie. I'm pretty simple when it comes to that regard. I'd also love to go out hiking or something. I enjoy that as well. I don't really have like a view of the perfect date, as long as the person I'm spending it with is enjoying it like I am. Maybe not to the full extent I am, but is there with.
If you could give one piece of advice to women, what would it be?
That's hard. That's really hard. I think the biggest part I could probably say is that you're beautiful and you're loved, whether you feel like it or not. You don't need to change anything about yourself to please another guy, especially another man.
Yes, that's so amazing, babe.
It's
Preach it.
I mean, it's true. I think it's a hard world we live in when you see like these magazines and these like you have so many people with like body image issues, and I think it's hard especially when women, they don't feel like they're getting that same type of affection or love, but understand that they are beautiful no matter what. And I think we could use a lot more positivity in that regard.
Yeah.
So just don't change yourself for another man. It's not worth it. I mean, like, even from a non-Christian standpoint, if you need to compromise your core values because you're trying to be something that you're not, then I don't believe that's the right way to go.
That was an awesome answer,
Oh,
babe.
thank you.
Couldn't have said it better.
What do you feel is the best way to understand or deal with the differing views in pursuit of understanding in a relationship? By that I mean, if you two are at an impasse based on two different problems, but none that are necessarily wrong, but you see it going one way and see it go the other way, how do you reconcile that?
One word: compromise. And I like to look at it, because I'm a pessimist by nature, as everybody loses a little bit. Josh likes to look at it, because he's the optimist in this relationship, as everybody wins a little bit. So let's all go with everybody wins a little bit. Depending on what we're compromising on, so what we're disagreeing on, if it's like whether it's painting the kitchen white or red, compromise. Maybe not pink, but like come to a color that you both like, that it might not be white and it might not be red, it might be blue that you both enjoy, it was like both of your guys' second or third options, something like that. That's pretty simple to like diffuse. It gets harder when it comes to values. Josh and I don't agree on everything as far as values or thoughts or thought processes, because we grew up in different environments. Just a lot of different factors play into who we are, and although we're very similar and our thought processes are very similar, there are definitely a lot of differences as well. So I think one thing that has helped us a lot is just to realize that, or at least it has helped me, they might not be wrong answers. Like, both of us could be saying something that's right and they're both right. Like, Josh isn't wrong and I'm right, or vice versa. Sometimes we're both right, and that's okay.
Or they affect different variables of
another thing that I have to come to accept that has been a huge learning process, and I'm still trying to get better at it, but my way, people's, might not be the best way. I know, shocking.
Me too.
It's horrible. It's a really painful process, realizing that, but I think it's a really healthy process to go through, and if you can come to that realization, I think it will really, really help your relationships, not only with your boyfriend or husband or potential friend. I think with all relationships, realizing that your way might not be the best way.
Numero 50.
Finish this sentence. I like it when a girl does blank.
Oh, this is another loaded question. I like it when a girl does little things that show her affection to me. You know, whether it's a kiss on the cheek or a hug from behind. And I'm speaking mostly in the terms of like already an established relationship, because I wouldn't want some random girl to come kiss me on
I would
the
hope
cheek.
not.
Cheek, but like you know, but in terms of like at least our established relationship, you know, that's the stuff that I know I like is when, you know, little things like affectionate says, hey, I love you out of nowhere, yelled across the room for no apparent reason other than just, hey, thought of you, you know, that sort of thing, or you know, but I guess in I like being complimented as well, you know, I don't have a image issue problem, but it always feels nice to know that you care.
Okay, what's your last question?
All right. What acts or basically actions do you see beneficial in fostering a healthy relationship, or like a healthy relationship environment?
So I think it looks different depending on where you are in your relationship. So whether you're dating or whether you're married. For dating, I think it's really helpful to actually go on group dates. So get to know each other in a group setting, as well as in a personal, individual couple setting, if that makes any sense. So not only going on dates one-on-one, but also going on dates with like other couples or even in a huge group and being together. I think that's really healthy to see how they interact with other people. Another really good thing to do is not just like hang out at each other's apartments. We did that a lot, and not gonna lie, our time probably could have been spent a little wiser. Not that I'm saying hanging out at each other's apartments is a bad thing, but probably hanging out in public places would have been better. Or with other people, making sure that you weren't the only ones. What our goal was to never be in each other's apartments without like a roommate or somebody else in the apartment with us, to keep us accountable, and we didn't always do that. So I think that was when you go into an apartment together, just the two of you, I think it puts you in a place to become vulnerable and susceptible to bad things. So that's one thing, a precautionary measure that I would suggest. When you're married, healthy things to do would be spending time with each other. Time just kind of gets, once you start, and quality time. Once you start living with each other 24/7 and you see each other more often, you really have to be more intentional with your times together, because it's really easy to become like roommates, where you get home and you say, hey, how was your day? And then just move on with life. Rather than when we were dating, it was a lot like, hey, I have to go home after this. We only have like a couple hours to hang out, and making that time really intentional. And I think that principle, bringing it into your marriage, it's a lot harder, but I think it is so important. And another thing, going on dates. We've never really been good at this. We've been getting better. We have been getting better. But
I mean,
going
we come
on
from college,
I
and
know,
we didn't really
when
have
we're
much.
poor. But whether it's going on a hike or going out to dinner or going to a movie, whatever it is, just getting out and getting dressed up, and being like, hey, this is why you fell in love with me. Remember, I actually can look pretty from time to time. You know, that kind of thing. So I think that going on dates is a really healthy thing to do.
And I guess a side tip from me, one of the things I always make it a strive for to do is always, when Emily gets home, I always greet her intentionally with, you know, hugs and kisses.
I'm not as good as that, and I'm working on it, but
because I do like when she gets home. I enjoy being around her, and I do love it. But guys, if you want a tip, just take some time and show some love to your wife, if she's been gone all day, or you know she's working too. Like, you know, I work long hours, and so does she, and we still try to take care of things together. Just be intentional.
Yeah,
That's
be
all it takes.
intentional. So that was it, guys. I hope you like this kind of video. If you want to see more of Josh other than just the funny exit things that he does, which I love. Thank you for doing that.
I try.
Let me know in the comments below if you really enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss any of my up and coming content, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.
Bye.
My husband, Josh.
The lesser half.
Yes, well, since it's Valentine. Actually, sorry, no. He's the better. No, I love him very much. He's great. But I am the better half. Just kidding.
Just like I said.
We do love us some football. And by us, I mean him.
All right. What's your next question? I'm
Yeah,
excited.
It's my turn.
But I guess it's my turn. Don't know if I can follow that one up though.
I told you that was kind of a loaded question.
It was a pretty loaded question. There's many ways to skin a cat. That's what the phrase comes from.
Yeah.
We're not
Except my
going to be
way's
skinning
the
any
best,
cats.
right?
Or-
This is different depending on what stage you're in. Wow.
Sorry.
Wow.
Oops.
So
Sometimes you forget you're on camera. For real?
probably.
Okay. Should I say the question again?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, start over without laughing.
Without laughing? Okay.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Where you are in your relationship. The burp killed us. Stop laughing.
Sorry. Okay. It's weird when you have a camera on you. Sorry. Go ahead.